Hello everyone, and welcome back to Theater on the Web series, where it's a theater classroom in the digital world. And I'm so excited that we've been doing these lessons, and I wanted to take a moment to look back at what we've done already. So we started off in our very first episode just looking at what is theater, and we talked about silly to serious. We also talked about the drama mask and kind of like where theater sits nowadays. Then we started looking at this idea of the self-tape, of how theater has now become a place where you have to audition online and digitally. So it's really perfect for us right now since we have a theater digital classroom. And then we started looking at this idea of what is a monologue. We talked about monologues. We talked about there are 2 to 3 kinds of monologues. We said there's a comedy, there's dramatic monologues, and then there's this middle ground that's called serial comic monologues. And then we actually had our first theater lesson when we talked about how to do a comedic monologue. And thank you so much for those of you who've reached out and have started sending those videos in. It's so exciting to see everybody starting to do their work on camera. So originally I was going to move on with the lesson, but after seeing some of the videos that I've been getting back, I realized I wanted to do a little bit more with this comedy. I don't think it's time for us to leave it just yet. So this episode today is all about gathering some things about what I learned about the comedy monologues and how we can make them better, and we'll get our next lesson. Sound good? Well, let's do it. So the thing about a comedy monologue, which we talked about last time, is that it has to have a little piece of your humor in it. I mean, to really make a comedy monologue work, it's really when the actor really embodies the jokes and the funny. And so you have to really have a really strong sense of who you are and what you are about when you are making the comedy monologues. So a little notes that I've seen with the comedy monologues. So first of all, shout out to everybody who just tried it. I mean, this is our first self-tape, and you're doing something that probably many of you have never done before. So shout out for the bravery and the courage that it takes to do this kind of work that we do. So shout out to all of you who already submitted something, and for those of you who are going to be submitting this time. The biggest thing is just to start. So don't forget, your camera is starting when it starts. So most of the days, most of our phones or whatever you're using to record, you can edit a little bit. So that was a big thing I saw. A lot of people didn't edit the very top of their video. The video can just start with you speaking and doing your slate. Yes. So that was another thing. So some people forgot to do their slate. So don't forget, the slate is the standard opening that we use for the theater. So when you're talking about you're doing your slate, it's just a few things. It's just like an introduction. You're just saying, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to be doing. Some of you didn't do that. Or you would do the first part of the slate, but then some of you would forget to say which monologue you're going to do. Now, I know which monologue you're going to do because I've only given you 2 to choose from for this last bit. But for this time, I would just say make sure you think about putting that in there. When a director or casting person is looking at these videos, what they're thinking about is can they follow directions? It's very simple things. Can they do these little things that we've asked for them to do? And it just says a lot about somebody who's very sharp and smart and can really cross all their P's and Q's, if they say. Meaning they can really follow directions and really take direction very well. And so that's a way for you as the artist, as the actor, to just immediately say, hey, you don't have to worry about me. I know how to read. I can follow directions, and I can do the things that you've already asked me to do. So that's already a win. So those are easy things that you can do, especially in that slate. Also, when people were doing the slate, don't forget, that's really the only time in the whole video that you get to be you. So I would encourage everybody who's doing any type of work on camera, especially when you get to that point on the slate, it really needs to be you, who you are, and show a little bit of your personality. And don't be afraid of your personality. Don't be afraid to show who you are in that video, in that little bit of the slate. Let them know Let me know who you are by how you say your name, by how you say your grade, how you say your homeroom, and how you introduce your piece, which monologue you're doing. So you have to like give all of that. If you're a person that has a lot of attitude, like bring that to the table so they just know right off the top who they're getting and what they're dealing with. I mean, this is not a time to be shy. Like when you're being in the theater, this is a time to just let it all just go. And the best thing I feel like about this piece of you in the video is this. Well, I'll tell you about that when we come back. So this piece that we're talking about, that's like you, that piece is very important. Because when we're talking about you and the work and you showing, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. This is a performance business, okay? So the theater is about performance. It's about showtime, and it's a business. So you have to sell yourself. So I see some of you who are like, you may feel like I'm a shy person, so I'm going to show them I'm shy on the video. No, that's not what you want to do. You want to show them the best version of yourself in the context of what we're doing. So meaning, like, yeah, you may be overall a shy person, but there are moments in your life or moments in your existence that you're not shy. And that's the point that you want to like show up. So it's kind of like in the theater world, you know, our like what we do, what we give out, they will say like it's a resume. It's like a list of all the things that you are. You kind of have to do that live in front of them. And then when we're on camera, you have to put that all on camera. So you want to show them the best version of who you are, even in that short little slate. It's so important. It's so important to really just take that little moment and just show, pow, this is who I am. This is the best version of me. So a few more tips about what I saw from the comedy monologue. So we had the slates. People forgot that, but don't forget that. And then some of them did the slates and didn't have their personality in it. So once you add that little bit of you into the slate, then you gotta jump right into the camera. So it'll be like, this is who I am, blah, 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 blah. And then bam, I'm acting. And you don't have to announce it. You don't have to take a slow pause, this long drawn out thing. You want to make it feel as seamless as possible. Like, whoop, quick, done. And then there you go. You're doing your thing. And to me, that shows a sign of confidence. I saw in the videos, I saw people that didn't show confidence in what they were doing. And the camera, like I said before, the camera doesn't lie. It will show everything, even some things that you don't even think it's showing. It'll show them. So you want to make sure that you are showing the best version of yourself doing this work, not just the regular every day. Don't forget, theater is not about the mundane. It's not about the regular. It's about the day that something awesome happens. And that's what people want to see. And so the thing about that with you is that you want to put on camera that awesome moment of yourself that pops for the camera. That's what you're trying to bring. You're trying to bring that moment when you're saying it or you're being yourself, and that moment that you pop. And that was something that I felt like that was missing in the overall pieces. Like this idea of allowing themselves to pop out of the screen. And when you really like allowing yourself to be free, you can really find that freedom of just like popping out. So what I want to say is this. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to shine. I feel like nowadays people feel like they have to like less themselves for other people. Theater is not that place. Theater is a place that you can be all of who you want to be in its fullness, in its greatness, and don't be afraid of it. And it's a great exercise, especially for younger people that are really getting into theater, to really just find out who they are, because the theater accepts you for who you are. And so you have to remember that when you're doing the work that you're doing. So the assignment for this week is I want us to try again with the monologue. So this time we're going to take the other monologue. So there's 2 there. So like if you did monologue 1 the last time, then you're going to do monologue 2 this time, or the vice versa. If you did 2 the last time, then you're going to do 1. So I want to see the other monologue. And I want you to think about all of these things that I said about putting into your piece. The biggest thing that I can really add as a coach or somebody to help you in this video is that don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to allow yourself to be free. And don't forget, so now that you have logged on and then you've been admitted to the Google Classroom, I'm here to help you. So also feel free to send me messages. If you're having trouble, write me on the Google Classroom. Say, Mr. Hillary, I'm having trouble with this and that in my video. And I'll respond back to those messages. A few people have already done that already. And I'm happy to do that work as I can. So today's episode is all about comedy part 2. So I'm excited that we get to do another week of comedy monologues. So if you did 1, you're going to do 2. If you did 2, you're going to do 1. So I want to see both of these videos with all of these new things that I talked about from our first round. See, can you put some of those things in the work this time? I think it's a great thing that we're allowing comedy and joy to go on for another week. Don't you? So same as last time, don't forget to join me at israelhillery@achievementfirst.org. Send me that message if you haven't started yet. You want to start on joining our programs. If you're going to get invited to our Google Classroom, just send me a little message. I will add you to the classroom, and then you'll have access to all of the links and all of the upcoming stuff that's going to be happening in our digital classroom. So I'm so excited to keep doing this work with you, and I'll see you all again very soon.